Today's news is regarding the GST compensation. Okay. In the last 2 years, we had a slowdown. Okay. Now we have discussed that in this financial year we have entered into technical recession. Okay. And especially after the government lockdown from March onwards. Okay. From April till now, there has been shortfall in the GST collection. Because of that, the state is demanding a proper mechanism for compensation from the sender. Okay, so due to this, in the August GST Council meeting, the central government has given two options for the states to choose in relation to GST compensation, and majority of the states or all the states and 3 union territories with legislature have decided to select option 1. So what is option 1 and what is option 2, what is this GST compensation, all will be discussed in today's session. Okay, so the recent state to join to select option 1 is Kerala and West Bengal, where they were against this compensation. But now almost except three states, all the states and the 3 union territories with legislature have selected option 1. So there is a high chance that in your coming prelims, the UPSC can ask a question regarding GST compensation, or they can ask regarding what is this option 1 or option 2. So we'll see that. Okay. So before going into the news, okay, to understand this news properly, you have to know the background. Okay. So have an idea, from 1st July 2017 onwards, this is the date, this date is very important. Okay. From this date onwards, GST has come into force by merging many central and state taxes. Okay. So many states had a concern regarding the shortfall in their tax collection, because their main taxes, including the sales tax or VAT, have been merged with the GST. So in order to give a protection or to give a guarantee to the states, a law was enacted. The law is very important. The law is GST Compensation to States Act 2017. Okay. So along with the other acts, this law was also passed by the Parliament. So as per this law, okay, so it's a statutory provision that states were guaranteed. Okay, so the news is all related because of this law. Okay, as per this law, the states were guaranteed for any loss in revenue. So if the state if the state is having a loss of revenue due to GST implementation, this is very, very, very important. Okay, due to GST implementation, if there is any shortfall in revenue, for the states, then the sender is guaranteeing a payment in the first 5 years. Okay, so for the first 5 years after the GST implementation, that is from 1st July 2017 onwards, for the 5 years, the sender has guaranteed a payment for any loss of revenue for the state. Okay, so as per this law, how the state's revenue will be calculated. Okay, so they have chosen the 2015-16 as the base year to calculate the revenue. 2015-16 financial year revenue was considered as the base year, and they expect that there will be an annual revenue growth of 14%. These are very important facts, very, very important facts. Okay, so by considering 2015-16 as base year for calculating revenue, and they expect there will be every year annual growth of 14%. So if for suppose in the financial year 17-18, if the revenue growth of a particular state is 10%, okay, so the shortfall is 4%, because it is guaranteeing 14% annual growth rate. So based on, different states will be having different revenue growth. So, but they will be calculated with the 14% by considering the that particular state 15-16 financial year revenue. So based on that only the shortfall in revenue is calculated. Okay, so these are very important. Okay, 14% annual growth in GST collection by state over the base year of 2015-16. So based on this, okay, in the financial year, the current financial year is 2020-21. That is from 1st April 2020 to 31st March 2021. In this financial year, the government is mainly due to the this lockdown, as well as I told you in the financial year 1920 there have been slowdown, but in the 2020 in this financial year we are having recession because of the first 2 quarters. We are having recession because of the lockdown effect. Okay, so the government have calculated, and as a government expectation is that there will be a revenue shortfall in the current financial year. So the estimated revenue shortfall is for the states, for all the 28 states. So be update with the currently we are having 28 states. Okay, and there are 8 union territory, but for the compensation is only for 28 states and 3 union territories with legislature. Okay, so the revenue shortfall for these states and union territory with the legislature is 3 lakh crore, and in that the government will be collecting a compensation cess, GST compensation cess will be collected. Okay, through this cess only, compensation cess only, this revenue shortfall will be filled, or what is the shortfall in the revenue for the state is being compensated through this compensation cess which was included by this particular law. Okay, so the government is expecting that the compensation collection will be 65,000 crore. So the basic difference will be, so 3 lakh crore is the expected shortfall, 65,000 crore will be collected. So the shortfall, so the common deficit will be, so there the exact shortfall for the states will be after the compensation cess collection is 2.35 lakh. So this was the estimation in August. Okay, so as per the government belief that, okay, government says that the shortfall will be after the compensation cess will be 2.35 lakh crore. Out of this 2.35 lakh crore, the central government says that only 97,000 crore, only 97,000 crore is the real shortfall on account of GST implementation. Okay, the central law guarantee shortfall due to GST implementation. So 90,000 crore is due to GST implementation, and the remaining amount is due to the lockdown, due to this COVID pandemic impact of the pandemic. Okay, so this differentiation of the center regarding the how much is the loss in revenue due to the lockdown impact and how much is due to GST implementation is very important. Okay, so the government, central government says that only 97,000 crore is due to the shortfall is due to GST implementation. So they are ready to compensate with this. Okay, so this option 1 and option 2 is related with this concept only. Okay, so in the August 2020 meeting, after the GST council meeting, the central government has given 2 options for the states to choose to meet the GST revenue shortfall. The first option is, in the option 1, what the center says that, okay, this 97,000 crore, this 97,000 crore, which is the real shortfall due to GST implementation, the government says that, central government says that, okay, you can borrow this amount through a special window created by the RBI. What is the special window? We'll discuss. Okay, so option 1 is to borrow the 97,000 crore through a special window created by the or facilitated by the RBI. So the advantage of this special window is that the central government will borrow on behalf of the state and will pass out to the state, and the interest rate will be near to the 10-year benchmark government yield. Okay, so that unlike the way the state borrow, if the state borrow, the interest rate will be more than the central borrowing. So here the center is borrowing on behalf of the state. Okay, in the case of first option. Okay, and second option is that the entire amount, what is the entire amount in shortfall? That is 2.35 crore, can be borrowed by the state, but at the prevailing market interest rate. So the interest rate will be higher. So these were the two options given, and further there are other points to discuss, which I will discuss regarding option 1 and option 2. Okay, so this was the initial projection, but it was later revised. This projection was under option 1 and option 2 was later revised. Now this is the latest, that is very important. Okay, as per the latest revision, okay, the state has an option, that is the option 1 under the special window. Option 1 under the special window, the amount was revised to 1.1 lakh, that is 110 lakh crore under the option 1. This is the amount the central government believe is the real revenue shortfall due to GST implementation. Or under option 2, the states can borrow the entire full amount. This was again revised from 2.35 lakh crore to 1.83 lakh crore. So these were the two options. So the data, even the factual information, they will not call, they will not ask. So just be aware, these were the two options for the states. Okay, so majority of, except Manipur, initially every state and union territory with the legislature choose for option 1, but later Manipur also decided to change. Now Manipur is also using this option 1. Okay, so be very clear with this. Okay, so now all the, except say I told you only 3 states have not taken any decision till now. Maybe very soon they also have to join the they will also decide to borrow under the option 1. Okay, so we'll see that. So what is, you see, there's a high chance that they will ask in detail regarding option 1. What are the benefits under option 1 compared to option 2? See, under the terms of option 1, okay, if the state is borrowing under option 1, this additional borrowing by the state will not be accounted as a part of the state's debt. Okay, so the borrowing under the GST compensation under option 1 will not be calculated as, will not be accounted as state debt. So while calculating the state's overall debt calculation, the amount the state borrow under this option 1 will not be calculated. So this is a good thing for the state, so that because in their overall debt, this amount will not be considered. Reason I'll tell you, because the principal amount and the interest will be, even though the state is borrowing, but through the compensation cess, the center will compensate. Okay, so one advantage of option 1 is that the borrowing under this option 1 will not be recorded in the books as debt, state's debt. Okay, and also this is another important point. Okay, if the state is borrowing under option 1, the repayment of the interest and principal, the state repay will be done from a compensation fund. Okay, I told you already, there's a compensation cess is there. This compensation cess is only for the first 5 years, but the GST Council meeting have decided to extend beyond 2022. That is 2022 is the first 5 year will be completing by 2022, middle of 2022. Okay, so this GST compensation cess will be extended for few more years beyond 2022, so that this cess compensation fund, or through this compensation cess, the fund created by collecting compensation, by using this compensation cess, will be used for repayment of this principal and the interest which the state borrow under the option 1. So state prefer this, but the problem is that the amount the state will be borrowing will be lesser compared to option 2. See that in option 1 the borrowing will be lesser, but advantage is that interest rate will be lower because the center is borrowing on behalf of the state. Second, the interest and the principal will be paid from the compensation fund, which will be created, how this compensation fund will be funded from the compensation cess extension beyond 2022. So under option 2, what the state have to do is, the state have to directly borrow from the market. They can borrow the entire full amount. But the problem with this option 2 is that the interest rate will be higher, plus the interest cost under option 2. The interest cost under option 2 will not be funded by the compensation fund. Only the principal amount will be serviced by the compensation fund. The interest have to be beared by the state. But in the case of option 1, both interest and principal will be serviced by the compensation fund. But in the case of option 2, only principal will be serviced but not interest. So that's the reason why every state have decided to choose option 1 to borrow under this new mechanism, under the GST compensation mechanism. Okay. So there is a chance that UPSC can ask question. Okay. So as per the latest news, West Bengal and Kerala was the recent state to join the other states and the 3 union territories with the legislature under option 1 to meeting the GST compensation cess shortfall. So now only 3 states have to take a decision to choose option 1 and option 2. They are now Punjab, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh state government have to decide. All the states and union territory with the legislature have chosen option 1. Okay. Now this as of now, so this special window borrowing, okay, I told you this special window borrowing. So this special window borrowing, I have an idea under this special window borrowing. This special window borrowing is mentioned in option 1. Sender will be through the help of RBI. The sender will be borrowing on part of the state. So this central borrowing under the special window under option 1 have become operational from 23rd October 2020. And as per the current data, in 4 installments, the sender has borrowed and that money have been passed on to the states. So there will be more news till March 2021. The sender will be borrowing so till now 24,000 crore only borrowed. So remaining amount is there. So there will be lot of news regarding this option 1 and GST compensation shortfall. So there's a high chance that for your coming prelims there will be a question on it. Okay. So be update with the coming news. Thank you.